There's a scene in The Big Flush that really made me laugh, and part of me feels really awful for laughing at it because it looks like a really traumatizing experience. But this is a really good episode of Rugrats. It's the second segment of the 22nd episode of the second season, and in this one, Betty and Didi decide to sign up for swimming lessons for the babies. And when they're there, after the swimming lesson, the babies stay in the babysitting area, the child minding room, and the adults go off and swim and go in the sauna. And the babies decide to go and find the flusher because they think the swimming pool is a big potty. And they go off on their adventure, and there's this wonderful moment where Tommy asks Chuckie, "Have I ever got us lost forever?" And Chuckie just starts to name all of these things from previous episodes. And I think that was a nice little bit of continuity where it kind of reflected back on other episodes that certainly I've watched in the last few days. So that was something I rather liked. But whether or not they find the ability to flush the pool, I'm not going to say. But I liked the episode. I found it to be rather entertaining, but perhaps for the wrong reasons. First of all, I love the fact that they have those little float jackets on. They look so cute. And what made me quite curious is when they first entered the pool, they actually start to describe the environment around them, and in particular the smell. And it just made me wonder. I wonder what it feels like the first time you go to a swimming pool, because the smell of chlorine is so overpowering. And obviously you get used to it over time, but I can't remember the first time I went to a swimming bath. But I imagine that's quite a strange experience, and that's part of the reason why they thought it was a giant potty, because it does have that kind of bleachy bathroom smell. What impressed me was that they'd managed to get a private class. They were the only 4 babies in the class, which I feel like must have cost a fortune. And to get them used to the water, they had to do some dipping, which is basically where the parents held the babies and dipped them face first into the water. And it's awful, but they're all making these like screamy, squealy noises, and obviously in real life that would be horrific. But in the episode, there was just something so funny about it, and the way Phil and Lil's sticky up hair was flopping down with the water, very well animated. I found it funny. It's probably not meant to be funny, but I found it to be quite amusing. And very quickly after that, still wearing their wet clothing and their little float jackets, their float vests, they go off to the babysitting room and then leave the babysitting room to try and find out where the flush is. And I didn't mind it. I thought it was a really good episode. A nice, different environment, a different location, different things for them to interact with, which is always really good. I feel like Angelica could have been in this episode. I feel like having her in this and maybe showing off, causing some problems, that might have added a bit more substance to it. It's fine without it, but if I were to say that I felt like something was missing, I definitely think Angelica could have added something. But other than that, I thought it was a really good episode. Quite funny, very well animated, and because the babies survived being in the water, it might help any young viewers to prepare themselves for their first swimming lessons, especially if they're quite young and don't really know what to expect. Definitely, The Big Flush is an enjoyable episode.